The war for WWE's soul would not begin under the bright lights of Monday Night Raw. It would begin in the pre-dawn silence of a Manhattan skyscraper, 60 floors above a sleeping city. In a state-of-the-art private gym reserved for the city's elite, two philosophies were on a collision course. One moved with the silence of a falling leaf, the other with the explosive crack of a lightning strike. They were the only two people in the sprawling facility, and the city, the world, had no idea that the first shots of a generational conflict were about to be fired. 4:13 a.m. The scent of rain-washed asphalt drifted through the filtered air of the Olympus Private Fitness Club. For Arissa Seagal, this was her sanctuary. The chaos she had unleashed upon the wrestling world was a tidal wave of noise, opinions, and threats. Here, there was only stillness. Dressed in simple gray training attire, she moved through her Aikido forms in the center of the yoga studio. Each movement was a study in perfect economy, a seamless flow of energy, a redirection of imaginary force, her body a living conduit for the principles of harmony and control. Her breathing was the only sound, a soft, rhythmic whisper in the vast, empty room. She was the eye of the storm she had created. Then the stillness shattered. Thwack, thwack, thwack! The sound was alien in her sanctuary. It was percussive, violent, and utterly unapologetic. It came from the combat section of the gym, a place of heavy bags and brute force. It was the sound of impact, of aggression, of a philosophy diametrically opposed to her own. Curiosity, cold and sharp, replaced her meditative state. She flowed out of her stance and moved silently through the labyrinth of sleeping treadmills and silent weight machines, her footsteps making no sound on the polished floors. She found him in a room walled with mirrors. Kristopher Van Varenberg. He was a whirlwind of controlled violence. Bare-chested, with sweat glistening on his chiseled physique, he was unleashing a blistering assault on a 250-pound heavy bag. It wasn't just kicking and punching. It was a symphony of destruction. A jab, a cross, a spinning back fist, followed by a high kick that landed with a sound like a gunshot. The heavy bag groaned and swayed on its chain, a testament to the ferocious power being unleashed upon it. He was all fire, motion, and kinetic fury. He didn't stop as she entered. He didn't even turn. He simply spoke, his voice steady despite the intense exertion. "The ghost appears," he said, firing another lightning-fast roundhouse kick. "I was wondering when you'd float out of the shadows." Arissa remained in the doorway, a portrait of calm against his storm. "Your technique is loud," she stated, her voice even and analytical. "It's an announcement. It telegraphs your every intention before the strike is even thrown." Kristopher stopped, the heavy bag swinging wildly behind him. He turned slowly, a confident, challenging smirk on his face. He grabbed a towel and wiped the sweat from his brow, his eyes never leaving hers. "It's not a telegraph, Princess Aikido," he countered, tossing the towel aside. "It's a promise. It tells my opponent exactly what's coming and dares them to stop it. It's honesty. Your technique, it's all tricks and whispers. You wait, you deflect, you use their strength. What happens when your opponent has no strength left to give you? What happens when they just have damage?" He took a step closer, invading her space. The air between them crackled. "My father taught me to be the storm," Kristopher said, his voice low and intense. "To overwhelm, to conquer, to be an unstoppable force of nature." "Mine taught me to be the eye of it," Arissa replied without flinching, her gaze as unyielding as stone. "The calm center that everything breaks against. A storm eventually passes. The center remains." "How poetic," he scoffed. "But we're not in a poem. We're in a fight. And while you're busy remaining, I'll be busy winning." Their standoff, a silent battle of wills and words, was a perfect microcosm of the war to come. It was the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. 20 hours later, The lights of Monday Night Raw blazed to life. The commentary team of Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were practically vibrating with energy. The WWE Universe is still trying to process what happened last week, Cole exclaimed. Not one, but two children of legendary martial arts icons have laid claim to this ring. Forget that, Cole, McAfee screamed. We've got Randy Orton, a wounded viper, somewhere in this building ready to strike. We've got Triple H, who has completely lost control of his own show. This is absolute beautiful chaos. The chaos was soon given a focal point as Triple H's music hit. He walked to the ring not with his usual swagger, but with the grim determination of a general on the eve of a battle he didn't choose. Last week, he began, his voice booming through the arena, this ring was desecrated by personal vendettas and family legacies. This is not a dojo. This is not a movie set. This is the WWE, and in the WWE, we settle our conflicts right here, in this squared circle. The crowd roared. So I have spent the entire week on the phone with executives, with lawyers, and with the board of directors. We have come to a decision. We will not try to silence this storm. We will harness it, he declared. At SummerSlam, the second biggest event of our year, there will be a triple threat match. The energy in the building reached a fever pitch. It will be the Viper Randy Orton versus the Eye of the Storm, Arissa Seagal, versus the Damage, Kristopher Van Varenberg. The graphic flashed on the Titantron, sending a wave of delirious excitement through the crowd, but Triple H held up a hand. But a match of this magnitude, with this much chaos, needs a failsafe. A match with this much bad blood needs an enforcer to guarantee that there is a decisive winner. He paused, letting the drama build. So at SummerSlam, there will be a special guest enforcer at ringside, and that enforcer will be me. Back in the Manhattan gym, the pre-dawn light was beginning to creep over the skyline. Arissa and Kristopher hadn't moved. The news of Triple H's announcement was now playing on the gym's wall-mounted televisions. They both watched their faces appear on the screen, the SummerSlam graphic blazing between them. The philosophical debate was over. The abstract had become concrete. Their war now had a date, a time, and a location. Kristopher broke the silence first. A slow, genuine grin spread across his face. "Well," he said, turning to face her fully, "looks like the talking is over." He picked up his gym bag and walked towards the exit, pausing as he passed her. "Train hard, princess," he whispered. "The storm is officially on the forecast." He left. Arissa remained perfectly still, watching him go. Her calm exterior hadn't changed, but her eyes, reflecting the nascent light of the new day, now held a new, colder, and more dangerous intensity. The storm was no longer a distant threat. It was coming for her, and she would be ready to stand in its eye and break it.